Hello everyone, my name is Lalangel Ocabangal and I am the first reporter of Group 3. Our report is all about the West in Middle Ages. Now I am going to introduce to you the early Middle Ages. So the early Middle Ages is generally dated from the fall of Western Roman Empire 476 CE to approximately 1000, which marks the beginning of the Romanist period. It includes major art movements and periods, national and regional arts, genres, and revivals. Art historians attempt to classify medieval art into major periods and styles with some difficulty, as medieval regions frequently feature distinct artistic styles such as Anglo-Saxon or Norse. And these are the examples of Anglo-Saxon artistic styles. Before the early Middle Age, population decline, relocation to the countryside, invasion, and migration began and continued in this period. Including various Germanic people, they formed new kingdoms in what remained in the Western Roman Empire. So in the West, there are monasteries were founded as campaigns to Christianize pagan, and it was continued in Europe. When we say pagan, they are the people who worship many gods or worship nature and earth. As literacy declined and printed material became available only to monks and nuns who copied illuminated manuscripts, art became the primary method of communicating narratives, usually of biblical nature, to the masses. So dito daw is, sa period na daw ito is na-decline yung literacy nila. So yung mga manuscripts nila is available na lang daw sa mga monks and nuns dahil sila lang yung may naiwang copy ng mga illuminated na manuscripts. So ito yung example ng illuminated manuscripts. So, in early medieval period, they gave more value to decorative arts, including metalwork, ivory carving, and embroidery, using precious metals than paintings or sculptures. So, sa period na daw ito is mas binibigyan nila ng value yung mga metalworks kesa sa paintings or sculptures. Example of metal and inlaid objects are crowns, scepters, and this is the best known of early medieval works that survives to this day. So, ito daw yung siya ng mga works na nag-exist pa until now from medieval period. So, this is one example of metalwork in medieval civilization. This is the Visigothic crown. It is from Visigothic Spain. It is made of gold and precious stone. And according to research, it is one of the treasure of Guarazar. The period of European history extending from about 500 to 1400, or to the exact 1500 CE, is traditionally known as the Middle Ages. The term was first used by 15th century scholars to designate the period between their own time and the fall of the Western Roman Empire. During the late antiquity, the early Middle Ages, political, social, economic, and cultural structures were profoundly reorganized as Roman imperial traditions gave way to those of Germanic people who established kingdoms in the former Western Empire. These developments reached their mature form in 9th century during the reign of Charlemagne and other rulers of Carolingian dynasty who oversaw a broad cultural revival known as the Carolingian Renaissance. So, for your information, in addition, Charlemagne, the emperor of the Romans, He encouraged the Carolingian Renaissance to revive the cultural and intellectual in Europe. So, si Charlemagne daw yung nag-encourage sa mga Carolingian Renaissance na i-revive nila yung kultura nila at ang kanilang intellectual sa Europa. So, this is Charlemagne, and the thing that he is holding is the Carolingian dynasty miniature. The period was marked by economic and territorial expansion, demographic and urban growth, the emergence of national identity, and the restructuring of secular and ecclesiastical institutions. So sa period na doon ito nag-mark yung may mga nagaganap na daw na may pagmamayari na daw yung mga lupa. So kumbaga yung mga tao daw is parang nag-aangkin na ng mga teritoryo nila or nagkakaroon na ng kasulatan na itong area na ito ay sa akin ito, itong area na ito ay sa kanya ito. Then second, demographic and urban growth. So dito na daw din daw naging conscious na yung mga tao na sa pagdami ng mga tao at kung ilang yung nadadagdag, ilan din yung mga napapawas. Urban growth, kasali na din daw dito yung mga nagmamigrate ng mga tao na galing sa ibang bansa. The emergence of national identity. So sa period na daw ito, nag-start na din yung may mga identity na daw yung mga bawat bansa. For example, yung Pilipinas, kilala yung Pilipinas dahil yung mga tao ay hospitable or so on. The example is yung US. So yung US is well-known sila or yung identity nila, kilala sila dahil sa yung English language is nag-originate sa kanila and so on. It was also the era of Crusades, Gothic art, and architecture, the Papal Monarchy, the birth of university. So dito na daw din yung area yung nag-start na yung university. So ito na. The recovery of ancient Greek thoughts and soaring of intellectual achievements of St. Thomas Aquinas. So dito na din daw, recover na nila yung ancient Greek thoughts. So parang binalik nila, na-recover nila, or parang in-apply nila, ganun. And the soaring of intellectual achievements of St. Thomas Aquinas. So dito daw sa period na ito is parang binigyan na nila ng pansin or mas pinalawak pa nila yung intellectual achievements ni St. Thomas Aquinas. Europe indeed suffered disasters of war, famine, and pestilence in 14th century. So yung Europe daw is nag-suffer daw sila ng disaster of war as in sa period na daw ito ay nagkaroon ng war, famine, and pestilence. So may say famine, scarcity of food, kakulangan sa pagkain, so na ranasan din nila yun, and pestilence. Itong pestilence is matatawag din natin siyang fatal disease na naging epidemic before, na kung sakaling madapuan or makagat ka ng isang peste, o tapos yung bacteria is matagal sa skin mo, magkakaroon ka ng symptoms kagaya ng pananakit ng ulo, pagsusuka, at worse, magkakalagnat ka. So ito daw yung pestilence. So nangyari ito sa kanila. Grabe no, nagutom na sila, tapos nagkaroon pa ng epidemic sa kanila, nag-war pa. Grabe. So ito daw siya, nangyari dito sa 14th century. So grabe no, grabe ang kanilang tinanas noon. But many of the underlying social, intellectual, and political structure remained. So in the brighter side, kahit nangyari yun sa kanila, yung social, intellectual, and political structures nila ay naging intact, hindi nagbago, ganun pa rin siya. Ganun pa rin siya. Hindi talaga, yun yung magandang side na parang hindi na bago sa kanila kahit naranasan nila yung mga ganung mga bagay. In the 15th and 16th century, Europe experienced an intellectual and economic revival. So, as I mentioned earlier, Charlemagne, siya yung nag-encourage sa mga, siya yung isa sa nag-encourage sa mga Carolingian Renaissance na i-revive nila yung cultural nila at ang kanilang intellectual. So, nangyari pala ito siya sa 15th and 16th century. So, let's proceed to the next topic, feudalism techniques. So, the feudalism system, as modern scholars call it, first emerged in France in the 10th century and spread to other lands in 11th century. The word feudal derives from the word fief, which usually denotes an area of land held on conditions. So, yung fief daw, ito daw yung siya yung tinatawag sa isang area. A person who granted a fief to someone was person's lord. So, yung fief daw is pagmamay-ari daw. Ang tinatawag daw sa nagmamay-ari ng isang fief ay lord. Tapos yung mga vassal naman, sila naman daw din yung mga nagiging gwardiya ng isang lord. Sila yung nagbibigay ng serbisyo sa lord. Sila yung nagbibigay ng safety sa lord. Kumbaga sila yung military ng isang lord. Kings granted out much of their kingdoms as large fief to their nobles, and these in turn granted smaller fiefs to lesser lords, and so on. And this way, a pyramid of mutual support was built up, stretching from king downwards to the lord of a single village. So, alam naman talaga natin na before, na mga kings talaga, na mas malaki talaga yung parang share nila sa isang lugar, mas malaki talaga yung lands nila kesa sa mga lesser lords. Building blocks of fiefs were manors. So according sa research, yung manors daw, ito daw yung sila yung mga may nagmamay-ari ng isang small area ng lands. For example, pero hindi siya kagaya ng isang fief na as in na makaka-farm ka talaga, parang malawak yung lugar ng isang fief, unlike sa manors. Yung manors is tama lang na makapag-build ka ng house mo, gano'n. Small areas lang. So yung mga peasants daw, ito daw yung sila yung mga, kumbaga yung mga trabahante. Sila yung mga nagpa-farm sa isang land. Kumbaga sila yung mga farmers. So, last is the serf peasants. The serf peasants, sila yung mga practical na slaves talaga. So, sobrang practical na pagka-slaves nila, hindi sila pwedeng umalis ng land, ng specific na land na yun na pagmamay-ari ng isang lord. Kahit magpakasal, hindi sila pwede, or ipasa yung trabaho nila sa ibang tao na walang pahintulot sa kanilang lord. Pero on the brighter side, kapag naman sila ay nagkasala or nasa husgado sila, yung lord nila yung magiging lawyer nila. So yung lord nila yung magbibigay ng protection para sa kanila. Kaya pala na hindi basta-basta pinapayagan ng mga lords na kung saan-saan pumunta yung mga serf peasants nila. Kasi nga, yung lord yung magkakaroon ng kasalanan or siya yung magpo-protect pa rin sa mga serf peasants kung sakaling magkakaroon ito ng kasalanan. So, that will be the end of my report. Thank you and have a good day.